Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
We're at the Michigan Golf Course Owners Association annual meeting, and with us is Paul Albanese of Albanese and Lutzke, the golf course design company. So Paul, this is very exciting. You have a chance to tell people a lot of interesting things that you've been up to. So let's start with what you've been up to lately.
Sure. It's been an interesting year. It's been a good year. We've going to open up our new golf course next year, Sage Run Golf Course up in Escanaba, the sister course to Sweetgrass, which is part of the Island Resort and Casino. We're proud of that. So far, it's getting some good reviews by the people who've played it in the dirt. So next year, hopefully, we'll play it in the grass, and it should get some really nice accolades. We're also working in Vietnam. We just opened this year the Yen Dzung Golf Resort, just outside of Hanoi. That was exciting. Only problem with that, it takes about a week to do a one-day meeting to go over there, but I have some really nice clients over there. It was quite a property. Never worked on something so difficult, really, and we made it happen, and we're hopefully going to build the second course there in the next coming year.
Well, let's back up a little bit and talk about Sage Run. Opening date is coming soon?
June 14th is the opening day, and after that it's open to the public, and so everyone get on up there and take a look at it. I know they're excited to show people, and they're going to have some great package deals along with Sweetgrass and Sage Run now, so there's all kinds of reasons to go up to the Island Resort and stay for the whole weekend.
Well, the Sweetgrass course is so memorable because of the bridges, the one-lane bridges you found somewhere, and it really distinguishes that course from any other. What distinguishes Sage Run?
I'd say the topography and the variety that we found in the routing. There's a feature on Sage Run called a drumlin. It's a landform, and it's about 150 feet high, and it runs the entire middle of the property, and it's pretty obvious. And we found a way for golfers to go up and down that drumlin in multiple times throughout the round. So the views you get from it, and the excitement you get from hitting a golf ball down it, and even the excitement you get from hitting a few shots up the drumlin, that's really going to be what distinguishes this golf course.
Oh, that's really interesting. So it's like not hilly, but you have a chance to do elevation changes.
That's right. That's a good way to put it. It's not a hilly site. There's one big hill that runs through the entire site, and we just go up and down that hill, and in ways that I think are interesting.
How about trees?
There are quite a few trees on the hill. That's where most of them are. I was on the drumlin. And then when you hit off into more open land. So there's quite a bit of prairie style out there as well as wooded style. There's some wetlands that we play around. So there's quite a variety of landscape and ecology.
Well, that sounds like fun.
It is. It's going to be fun. We're excited, and hopefully everyone else will enjoy it.
So you travel a lot, but Vietnam sounds especially intriguing. What were some of the challenges of building a course there?
Getting there. That was the biggest challenge, was to get to Vietnam, but I've gotten used to the plane flight. It's 27 hours to get there. But once we do get there, the challenge was the site. We had a site that was more or less the side of a mountain, and we had to cut into the side of it, and we had to do some benching, and we had to make sure the drainage worked, and it was probably the most difficult engineering project we've had to deal with. And the next project that we're going to do for them is completely different. It's down the valleys, so we won't have to deal with the side of a slope as much. The culture is fantastic in Vietnam. The golfers over there are really into the game. They're very respectful of the game. They enjoy golf like we've enjoyed golf for, since the 20s here. They're really just starting out. They're like America from back in the early days. So they're getting exposed to golf. They're enjoying it, and I'm very glad to say that they've retained us to help them build some of their courses over there.
So, side of a mountain, does that imply switchback paths?
Yes, we had to do a lot of engineering of the cart paths to make sure people didn't fall off the side, and it was quite difficult to engineer the cart paths as well as the golf holes. And there's some bridges out there that we had to build, and there's some guardrails we had to put up, so it was quite a challenge.
Guardrails?
Yeah, guardrails on the cart paths, no doubt.
Oh, wow. That sounds like it's almost worth a destination trip.
Well, my buddies and I are talking about making a trip out to Vietnam. I'm not sure they can handle the plane flight, but if we do get out there, it would be a fantastic destination to go to.
Well, you just take a thick book along.
Yeah, very thick. Yeah, War and Peace.
Exactly. Well, one of the things that's intriguing about your career is you've got this interesting academic connection. You graduated from Cornell and then Harvard Design School. Can you tell us a little bit about your program at Harvard's Design School?
Yeah, I can actually. And I've always, starting out in this field, I started out studying it in college. I knew I wanted to become a golf course architect. Well, people ask all the time how I got into this field. In fact, most golf architects get asked this question when you're on an airplane, and really at any social event, people ask, how did you get into golf design? And I always have the answer of forklifts. And I usually get that look of forklifts. How does that work? And I knew when I was studying engineering at Cornell and we went to a forklift factory, and all the students who were in my class and all the engineers who were in the factory were getting together, and they were really passionate about forklifts. And I knew I was not passionate about forklifts, and that I knew that I was probably going to suffer in the real world if I needed to go into the forklift world. So I figured I better start studying golf course design or something I enjoyed, which I put together my love of building things and my love of golf, and I figured out, well, maybe I'll try this golf course architecture thing. And then through some hard work and really some good fortune and good luck and a lot of people on my side, I've been able to do this for 25 years. But in that 25 years, I have stayed in the academic world as well. I enjoy teaching golf architecture as much as I enjoy doing golf architecture. So I've stayed with teaching it. I got to teach in Scotland, which was a fantastic experience for 4 years. I lived in Scotland while I taught there. I've done some seminars with Michigan State University and Cornell University as well. So I've always enjoyed going back and teaching and having people explore golf course design as I was able to do in my college days.
Well, it's one thing to be able to teach golf course architecture. It's another thing to be able to teach it in Edinburgh. So tell us a little bit about the students that you encountered there.
Yeah, that's a good question. We were... And it's, I called it Edinburgh too when I was there for the first few times, but it's Edinburgh, and they will quickly remind you of that when you're over there. So anyway, in Edinburgh, the students were fantastic in that they were from around the world. They were not Scottish. I had one Scottish student the entire time. I had students from China, Korea, Canada, Brazil. I had a student from Colombia, one from Italy, and one from Australia. So they came from around the world, and it was that international flavor was not only rewarding in itself, but to be able to take the knowledge they learned about golf design and bring it to those countries. I like to think we planted a seed of golf course design in many countries.
I bet you had a chance to learn something from them.
Absolutely, no question about it. And part of being in academia, I think if you ask any professor, they're not just teaching students, they're also using the academic world to learn more themselves. And I did get a chance to learn from them, and probably the best thing I learned was living in Scotland. I got to live there for a full year, and I got to go see the true Scottish golf course unsung gems, not just the St. Andrews and the North Berwick's, but I got to go see the unsung gems that were part of every town in Scotland. Every Scottish town has a golf course that's the same as a church or a public playground for them. I mean, that's just part of their culture, is to have their own golf course, and that's really a beautiful thing, and something I'd love to see more countries do, where golf becomes integrated into the fabric of their culture.
So those would be public courses.
All public courses, and beautiful gems of golf courses that people don't even know about.
Well, speaking of playing, you played for Cornell. You were a really good stick, and you played at Bethpage Black for part of the Ivy League championships. Did Bethpage Black influence your design?
That's funny. Bethpage Black almost made me quit the game of golf. And I'm not kidding. We played there 3 years. I played in the Ivy League championships 3 years in a row at Bethpage. Every year, without question, it rained. It not just rained, it poured. And we had to play 36 holes for 3 days straight. And by the third day, and coming in from the 27th hole, and all I looked at was my golf coach with a dry towel and a Snickers bar saying, you got to go out and play again. It was the closest I had ever come to saying, maybe I really don't want to play this game anymore. So Bethpage has influenced me in terms of being able to stick to it with golf, but and the design itself, yes, this was before the remodeling, so it did influence me, but the current Bethpage Black is not one that influenced me. It was the older one that did.
So you have to think about how to make a course playable in the rain.
Well, there you go. I probably did learn that, because my recollection of Bethpage Black is driver 3-wood wedge on every hole, including the par 3s.
So you mentioned forklifts, but we also want to talk about Christiana Creek.
Oh, that's always, yeah. That was you guys were there with me when we figured that out, and Dan Grassi, who again, the story goes, and the story is that we were doing the bunkers at Christiana Creek, and Dan said, you know, Paul, these were built with horses, or I said they were built with horses, and then Dan said, well, if you really want to do these bunkers, Paul, I can go get some horses. And I said, if you get horses, I'll get Art McCafferty down here to film this. And that's what happened. Dan found the horses. I called you guys. I called some other media outlets, and we had a big party down there while we built two bunkers with horses. One of the best experiences I've had in my career, without question.
So part of that experience raises this question: why would building a bunker with horses be different than the way you'd build it right now?
Oh, I learned why they're different. You can see now old style courses why they are the way they are, because horses can't take the dirt very far away. So really it was scrape it out of the bottom to create the bunker and then dump it right over the back side of the bunker. So that's why you see old style bunkers the way they are. They've got larger hills behind them or larger mounds, and the slopes, the shapes are all based on the way the horse and that scraper were building it. So I got a great educational experience learning why old bunkers look the way they do from building it with a horse.
Are they bigger?
No, they're much smaller, because you don't have nearly the amount of time to do it with a horse. I can't imagine how long it would take to build an entire golf course with a couple horses.
Would you do it again?
Oh yeah, I loved it. And next time, we'll use different animals. Maybe if I do something in Egypt, we'll do them with camels or.
Well, on that note, we look forward to Sage Run opening up, and thank you for talking with us.
Yes, thanks, Jenny. Always good to see you.